Okay, I'm going to wrap up with a few comments, but before I get started with that, and while our panelists are collecting themselves, some housekeeping items. If you have signed up for CLE, please turn in your CLE evaluation forms at the registration table. As you all know, we have a reception planned directly after this event. It'll be downstairs in the room directly next to where lunch was. Please take our printed materials. We don't want to take them back to New York. and hand them out to your colleagues and everyone else who is unable to join us today who might be interested. Audio and video will be posted on our website in short order, so for those folks who are not able to attend today, please do circulate that, and then follow us on Twitter, thanks to Nanil. Our next event is at Arizona State University, October 12th. Tell your friends. And that's it. As far as housekeeping, I want to tell you how gratified I am that you all came together today for the course, some of you lasting the entire 8 hours of the day, which is very impressive. This has been a tremendous collection of expertise from Southern California and Northern California and other parts of the country. And I feel privileged to have been privy to the conversation we heard today. So thank you all so much for engaging. And I hope that the conversation continues. I think in some ways this was planting the seeds for new relationships and new brainstorming around some of these issues. So I really appreciate all of your participation. I want to run through a few sort of key takeaways out of the many that came out of the day, just so we don't lose them. Pre-trial. Well, first I'd like to mention realignment, which, we spent the morning thinking about, and then we stopped thinking about it this afternoon. But it is clearly an incredible shift that is happening in California right now that will impact the county jails across the state. Those same county jails hold 2,800 ICE detainees, and I don't know if anyone's really thinking about that. I know it's coming out in a few local. In some local level fights, such as in you guys and your California names, Contra Costa County. I know there's been some debate around the jail down there or up there. So, but I don't know that on a sort of grand system California scale that this is being looked at. So that is something to watch. Pre-trial programs. It was really a privilege to hear from David Mohammed, formerly of Alameda County, and Gary Hersig of Santa Clara County, to hear about what makes effective pretrial services programs, because I think that we can all agree that is the closest analog that we can see to alternatives to immigration detention, and they are further along. And while not every county is on top of the most effective pretrial services, there are quite established best practices in that field, including validated risk assessment tools. And so I think that's really an important thing that we need to keep an eye on that one, especially as we're pressing for expanded alternatives to detention. It's something that criminal justice reform folks have been paying attention to, and we need to do so as well. Tools for change, potential limits of litigation, especially on conditions in immigration detention. It's a big one, and it was very helpful to hear from Michael Bean and Ahilan in relation to what works for litigation, for conditions litigation, and what doesn't work so much. And I'd also like to thank Jakata for joining us and reminding us of a bigger picture in which we're working, and most obviously the recognition that when we're thinking about immigration detention, we aren't actually thinking about detaining the Irish immigrant who overstayed their visa. That this detention system impacts, by and large, Black and brown people, and I think that is an important thing that we all need to keep in mind and allow that to inform how we are attempting to shift public discourse around the issue. Civil detention is a tough one. And I think we all need to continue to try to drill down on it, but it's pretty clear to me, and with the benefit of hearing from all of you and talking to corrections experts over the course of some years, that there are limits to how much can change in conditions in a civil confinement setting that would make it all that much better or different from a criminal confinement setting. So I think it's important to continue to push for less restrictive, more normalized conditions in a civil confinement setting, but not consider that the be-all, end-all. There are much larger systemic issues that we need to be paying attention to. And finally, thanks so much to Judge McCune and Marcellus and our panelists at the end of the day on access to legal counsel. It's clearly a crucial need, crucially under-resourced, and I think it is important to continue to push this presumption that detained immigrants do not have access to government-funded legal counsel. So, finally, I want to thank the University of California at Irvine and the UCI School of Law. It's been a real pleasure to partner with Jennifer and Phil in making this event happen, as well as the Immigration and International Law Society and the Orange County Human Rights Association, who are also excellent partners. And finally, be sure your name is on our sign-up sheet outside so we can stay in touch, continue the conversation. Let's go to the reception. Thank you.
Last from the past.